Nation's #1 DJ, DJ Rockwell.
Yo, this is Apocalypse, the lyrical warner, hip-hop revelator. And you rockin' with the nation's #1 DJ, DJ Rockwell, you understand me?
Brothers and sisters, ladies and gentlemen, assalamu alaikum. This is your brother, nation's #1 DJ, and your host of the Rockwell Radio Show, Brother Vaughn Muhammad, aka DJ Rockwell. Such an honor and a pleasure to be with you once again. Thank you for tapping in. As we do every week around this time, we ask everyone to observe the 3 active and standing rules of the Rockwell Radio Show, which are as follows. We ask everyone to go ahead and hit that like and share button, subscribe, turn on the notifications, and of course, tag somebody to let them know you're watching the Rockwell Radio Show and they can join you too. And the other great news is we can now be heard on all of the major and main streaming sites wherever podcasts are heard. Yep, that includes places like iHeart, Podbean, Apple, Amazon Music. You name it, we are there. And we just need you to be there too. So again, tag somebody, share the show. Please let me know where you all are watching from, where you're listening from. Let me shout out a few cities if you are in the building. I see my brother Nas is in the house. Stars Light, my brother, man, support and love to you. He's a trainer. He's one of the baddest sax players that we got in the nation. Hit that like button, hit that share button. Because tonight we've got an incredible show. I want to shout out to my sister Judith Muhammad in Chicago, who's tuned in. As you jump in the chat, let me know what city you're watching from so I can shout you out. Because we've got for lack of a better word, a star-studded show. And it's one of the episodes that I am most humble to present now for its 4th iteration, its 4th version here on the Rockwell Radio Show. It makes me excited. It makes me nervous. It makes me intense because I'm around professionals. Now, as one who likes to consider myself a professional, this is a different kind of professional because in the practice of martial arts, it is a science that requires intense commitment, preparation, dedication, and consistency. And whenever you're dealing with a group of people that practice those things, you're around a serious group of people. And I'm always honored to be among a larger group of people that practice that lifestyle, and by whom I'm referring to is the FOI. I see Dallas is in the house. The FOI and MGT, to be clear. Because when it comes to martial arts, it is a science that we use to preserve our lives in more ways than just one. Not just in a means of self-defense, but in a way that we can preserve our health. And now in its 30th year, let me get that a hand, I get to talk to the driving force behind the National Training Convention. So again, I rush to say, if you haven't done so yet, go ahead and share the show and observe the 3 rules, which are hit the like button, subscribe, and of course, tag someone, let them know that you're in the building with DJ Rockwell. You know, like I said, these brothers have been on the show now 3 times, and this makes the 4th. And I'm so humbled and honored that they choose, of all the platforms they could choose, to sit with their humble brother who is a DJ. If you're new to the Rockwell Radio Show, the Rockwell Radio Show was really founded and formed to make the parallels between the hip hop community, the Ministry of Arts and Culture, and the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, as taught by his star student and Messiah, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. So you may ask, well, Brother Vaughn, what does martial arts got to do with that? I think there is a huge connection. And if you go back and check the former episodes of this conversation, you'll find that we explore the connection between martial arts and hip hop. But you already know that. So tonight's show is going to do just that and more as we talk about the 30th anniversary of this great event called the National Training Convention, why it exists, who has it served, and what is the future of this conference. But first, before we begin to introduce our guest, I would like you all to watch this.
I want to thank Grandmaster and all the Grandmasters, male and female, that are here. And I want to thank you for demonstrating the greatness of your skill.
You know what I'm saying? When I'm confronted by him, the question is, what do I see in him? First of all, I see if we're taught that when we look at another man or brother or sister, when we look at our alternate's part, we got to see ourselves. Do you understand what I'm saying? So now the question is, what do you see? Do you see yourself, or do you see someone capable of destroying you?
With no further ado, brothers and sisters, let's begin welcoming our guest to the Rockwell Radio Show for their fourth time here on this program. Again, I am humbled and honored by their presence. I will begin first by introducing the man who is the longtime assistant and chief supporter of Brother Grandmaster Abdul Azziz. He's been with him a long time. He's helped to drive this event to every person around who's helped attend. Let me say that in a better way. Help promote and make this event a success. Marketing, the background, the hands that I don't have right now as a background, who's helping make this event a success every year. Please welcome my brother from Kansas City. Again, the assistant to Brother GM behind this great NTC 2025. Please welcome my brother and yours, Brother Calvin Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum, my brother.
Wa alaikum salam, brother. I apologize for the slight fumble. I'm trying to get my things together as I'm kind of multitasking here. Big Dave, shout out to you when you see this later, my brother. Brother, welcome back. I am excited, nervous at the same time, because I want to make sure that we make a great impression. There are so many that are watching that maybe didn't attend 2024, that maybe didn't attend 2023, that now will be with an opportunity to see 2024 and why they should be there. After we introduce our brother, I'm going to ask you just to give us a quick summary on what has happened in the previous year. But before you do that, I'd like to now introduce our big brother. When I say driving force behind the NTC, I mean driving force. He has now been on this program. This makes the fourth time. And I am so humbled and honored that now for the fourth year in a row that he's chosen the Rockwell Radio Show as a platform to promote the National Training Conference. Please welcome my brother and yours, the Student Assistant Supreme Captain of the Nation of Islam, and the trainer of the FOI, Dr. Abdul Azziz Muhammad.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam, sir. Thank you Thank you. It is my understanding that we'll also be joined by another important helper of your team. And I understand she's trying to feverishly work to get on the air as we speak. And we will certainly welcome our dear sister, Sister Lisa, when she arrives. So again, brothers and sisters, before we get into it, please, again, follow the 3 standing rules of the Rockwell Radio Show. Hit that like button, subscribe, turn on the notifications, and tag somebody to let them know you're rocking with DJ Rockwell. And with me right now is Brother Calvin Muhammad and our big brother, Abdul Azziz Muhammad, a.k.a. to us, GM. Again, brothers, welcome back.
It's an honor.
I want to begin quickly by, again, telling you how much I am grateful for you choosing this platform. It may seem to be to some unusual as a pairing. Why would they choose a hip hop platform? And I have a question. I will address that in just a moment, but I want to begin, brothers, by giving our brother Calvin a moment to give us a report, if you will, Brother Calvin, about the great event that happened just 1 year ago, NTC 2024. Please tell the Rockwell Radio Show a brief synopsis of how that went.
Beautiful, beautiful. Brother, first and foremost, I do have to give my appreciation and thanks to you for such an incredible show and such an incredible job, and your role in your hand in bringing positivity and giving insight, much needed insight into the arts and entertainment and into this world. So we appreciate you and everything that you do for welcoming us on here. And I got to give, of course, credit. I was pushed to the point where I had to help, and that is from the man that you see on the show with you, of course, Dr. Abdul Azziz Muhammad, the Student Assistant Supreme Captain. I'm just honored to be one of the powerhouses behind this incredible team that he has. And so I will tell you, talking about last year is somewhat surreal, Brother Vaughn. I mean, it is, when I think about last year, I kind of get goosebumps.
Come on now. Because
of the theme of last year being the handwriting is on the wall. And we dealt with a lot has transpired in a year. And we dealt with a lot of training that really people are looking into the archives now to utilize them. I'm in Kansas City, Missouri. Just yesterday, St. Louis, Missouri was hit by an incredible tornado. And one of our training courses last year was dealing with disaster preparedness. And I talked to the student captain there, Student Captain Allen Muhammad, and the first thing that came out of his mouth was, thank God for the training. And so we dealt with disaster preparedness last year. We dealt with agricultural preparedness on how to grow food on your own. We had an incredible few courses on security that was the 29th year. And it went in such detail where we had certifications on security. We had incredible panel discussions. The officers had an incredible training time, both the captains, the lieutenants, the student investigators, and our youth. Oh, I wish you could hear the feedback of how our youth were fed last year, dealing with everything on how to deal with social media, how to deal with the pressures growing up in the Nation of Islam, and then, of course, being introduced into a world that has a lot of influence on how to deal with that as a Muslim. Not to mention, we broke records on attendees last year that we're anticipating on breaking this year. So last year, the 29th anniversary, and every year we think, can it get any better? The special and unique thing about last year is that everything that was taught, all the workshops that were given last year are literally applicable right now.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Again, brother, I am in awe that now here we sit 30 years later with the tremendous and fantastic service that you have provided for not only the believers, but for the community as a whole with this great program. I'd like to direct my next question directly to Brother GM, if I may. I just learned something today as I was preparing for today's program. I learned the definition of the Japanese word jujitsu. I learned today, brothers, that the Japanese word jujitsu is from a word meaning gentle art. And I thought that I would ask you, since we're talking about martial arts, or essentially what is fighting, how can something called gentle be applied to fighting?
Yes, sir. Well, great. First of all, I want to thank you for having us. You know, you reserve the opportunity for us to be on with you every show, and we thank you so much for it. You know, you're a true brother. You're a true brother, and I thank Allah for you and for this show. It's a powerful show, and it's not to mention that it is a tremendous marketing piece. You know, I'm here. I'm just happy to be with you, but it's not you know, something that's a soft anything. This is a powerful show. And why would why would we want to be on a show that deals with hip hop? Because hip hop is our people.
Come on now.
And what we do is for our people. And if we can get onto a show that talks to our people, then that's exactly where we want to be and need to be. So yes, I wanted to say that first. In terms of, I want you to kind of touch the question again for me so that I can go into that a little bit more. Could you hit that question for me again?
Certainly, yes, sir. I was learning the definition of the word jujitsu,
yes,
which means gentle art.
Gentle
and
art.
I wondered, how can anything gentle be applied to fighting?
Yes. Well, you know, when we look at fighting, and you'll find that in the martial art movies, right? There'll be the monkey, and they have an art designed to fit the movement of the monkey, and then there's the praying mantis, and there's the lion and the tiger. So there are aspects of these animals and aspects of nature. And you know, when we what was just mentioned, brother Calvin just mentioned the tornado that was in St. Louis. And then there are winds. You know, normally winds are gentle.
How about it?
And then there could be something that causes the wind to become uncontained. And it can now turn into a traumatic situation. So fighting, it's living, is the same. So if you create a situation within someone's life, they can become hostile, they can be gentle, they could be whatever that their mind and spirit leads them to. So martial arts is just an aspect of how. It's a style of fighting. So yes, the gentle art is the ability to manipulate the body in a way that is not rigorous, or it's not hard. It is a softer application, but it can do the same damage.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're in the building with yours truly, DJ Rockwell, and my guests tonight are Dr. Abdul Azziz Muhammad and my brother Calvin Muhammad. They represent NTC 2025. And as you can see on the screen, you can go right to the website, thebskjujitsu.com, and register and get all the information you need to be a part of this year's training convention. And I tell you what, every year comes and something prevents your brother from going. But this year, I want to be among the quick, the living, and those who are striving to become fighters.
Yes.
I want to go back to the hip hop concept and that parallel for just a moment. The first time I ever heard the phrase grandmaster, in the hip hop community, we use it quite frequently in the late 70s and early 80s. You often heard people like Grandmaster Caz from the Cold Crush Brothers. And then you heard the term again later on with the Furious Five, Grandmaster Melly Mel. And then in the mid 80s or the early 80s came around, and then we met the DJ from the legendary trio Houdini, Grandmaster D. All of my forefathers in the hip hop community, they didn't have to fight and beat each other for the title Grandmaster. In the martial arts world, how does one earn the title Grandmaster?
Well, yes, sir. But just to dovetail on what you were just saying, you didn't have to fight anyone in martial arts, but you fought so much in battles. So you were fighting, and you were disabling many people. You understand? So fighting was there and is there. It's just a different type of fighting. You know what I'm saying? So, so it's it's a beautiful thing when we understand it, because so in terms of Grandmaster, there are masters, there are black belts, which are called senseis, which are instructors.
Yes, sir.
And then you have just individuals that are practicing and studying. So you have that all in the hip hop community. And
yes,
many
sir.
of us, we started out being a student, and then we got a little better than just being a student. And we began to we were able to teach you something, and then you became great. And maybe you were kind of local, but you were the local great in your area.
Right.
And then you started to become even greater. So the grand of masters is what we're talking about. So in martial arts, one has to start, and he comes in and he practices and he studies. In this art, we gain our leadership, if you will, by doing what you do, and your teacher gives you the accolade, and he gives you the levels of understanding, and identifies that, and then you become that. So you are made such by your instructor. Now there are those who tend to do it on their own, meaning that they operate as though that there is no master.
Right. Yeah.
But most times they're not as respected as the ones who were under the tutelage of a true master. And they now go and the master that they were under becomes a grand master, and then he gives guidance, and he taps and coronates them and says that you are, a tremendous person, and then you can become a grand master as well.
Brothers and sisters, that's our GM, Brother Abdul Azziz Muhammad. We need everybody to not forget, go ahead and share the show. Go ahead and follow the 3 steps of the Rockwell Radio Show. That means if you haven't subscribed already, go ahead and do that. Turn on the notifications and tag somebody to let them know, hey, you're on with DJ Rockwell. Quick question, man. And this is for both of you, if you'll humor me with this one. I was doing a study in preparation for tonight's conversation about what people would list as the top 10 most beneficial reasons why anyone would begin training or take on a martial arts. And one of the most repeated reasons I saw on the list that I looked up was the impact it had on self-confidence.
Yes.
I would like you to both speak to why this particular discipline would impact one's self-confidence.
Beautiful. Please, Sensei Calvin.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's a really, really loaded question. And having an opportunity to represent this art, VSK Jiu-Jitsu, and I work with a lot of children and, of course, adults. And one of the things that I constantly see, and first let me say this, prior to me becoming a student in this particular system under Dr. Abdul Azziz Muhammad, my idea or the identity of martial arts was different. One of the things that's very critical and about this particular system, and all martial arts are good for what they were created for, but this particular system, it has an identity rooted in, as the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says, accept your own and be yourself. And so when you look at the lineage and the identity of those who are at the founder level and the high instructional level of VSK Jiu-Jitsu, most of our people, we see ourselves. And that's very important, because for a long time, we didn't see ourselves in the martial arts. But not only in this particular system do we see ourselves, we have an art that was tailor-made for the struggle and the particular obstacles that we would undergo in our communities.
Right.
Take it a step further, in the Nation of Islam, and we are taught to be defenders and protectors. The point of view that we are given our training, of course, is from the point of view of one who is not the aggressor, but one who is a protector of themselves and their families and even dignitaries. And so to have the concept of a martial arts with your own identity that you see yourself, it's rooted in the faith that is universal and rooted in real life applications that we would see on a day-to-day basis, man, that is an incredible concept of an art that would happen, that can be distributed. And along with that, I've had an opportunity to watch children who have an opportunity to see themselves in the art, who have instructors who have a unique relationship with themselves. But of course, if I could just say, our dear brother, Dr. Abdul Azziz Muhammad, he puts the spiritual above the physical. He doesn't negate the physical, but the spiritual is above the physical. The spiritual is driving the physical. So in his instructorship, he is patterning an art, if you will, that can be patterned after how he sees, of course, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan teach. And so this is an expression of the martial arts that is directly connected to a divine spiritual aspect, as well as an identity. There's no longer an identity crisis in the martial arts. And so that's the perspective that I see.
Powerful.
Awesome.
Brother G.
Awesome. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you for that. And I agree wholeheartedly with all of that. And I would say with looking at how does it produce confidence. When we look at confidence, the only way you're going to feel like you are confident is to increase whatever confidence you already have. So now, if you think that you're the greatest already, then there's no need for having any more confidence.
Yes, sir.
But if there is a situation that you see as greater than yourself, see, when we say, and we've been taught, when you're looking at your brother and your sister, you are seeing yourself, but you're seeing God in the other person, which is also in you.
Yes, sir.
So that God that you're looking at, if anything makes you to feel less than, if somebody that is a bigger person or stronger looking person comes in front of you, there may be a little trepidation. There may be a little question in your mind, what could I do? So when you see that, you have to help them to understand that even if you see a person who is strong looking, you just got to know where you need to touch.
Come
so
on.
If you give a level of knowledge that opens up the door to raising you up. See, you gotta, in order to be raised up and feel confident, you got to see something that you did not have confidence in.
Yes, sir.
And it will help to raise you up. So confidence, is one of the things that is the greatest of characteristics that one looks for. Parents, come into the school looking to produce give our children more confidence. Some are not looking for necessarily confidence. They're looking to help reduce their activity or their aggressiveness and calm them down. So there are various things, but in terms of confidence, it is absolutely a big one. And we want to make everyone that comes in front of us more confident and prepared to deal with the world.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is our brother, Dr. Abdul Azziz Muhammad, a guest on the Rockwell Radio Show tonight for the 4th consecutive year. We are humbled and we are appreciative. With him is our big brother, Calvin Muhammad from Kansas City, who serves as the assistant to our dear brother, GM. And we are at the halfway mark right now. We're going to take a brief break. But when we come back on the other side of the break, brothers and sisters, we're going to ask about the systems in martial arts. In fact, I'm going to give you brothers just a quick peek at what the question is. Is there a best martial arts system? We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about the youth and the upcoming NTC 2025. Don't touch the dial. We'll be right back.
This is Grandmaster Abdul Azziz, formerly known as Grandmaster Anthony Muhammad. I wanted to make sure that I invited you again and let you know so many people are logging in, they're joining. Do not get left out. We have something for you, something for your wife, something for your children. We have it, and it's all going to be in Tinley Park at the Tinley Park Convention Center this year in Chicago. We have youth. We have babies that need childcare, but we're going to provide them with childcare. And then we have the 8 to 12-year-olds. They have a conference by themselves. We have the 13 and up. And listen, vending also. If you want to have an experience and make some money, you need to go to vending on that's THEVSK Jiu-Jitsu, that's JIUJITSU.com. So come on in. We only have a limited number of spaces for you. So first come, first serve. All right, I'm just excited. I'm looking forward to seeing you. And it's not just about this, but we're going to definitely have it. I got masters coming up from all around the country and outside of the country. We have instructors and presenters that are going to be presenting the spiritual, the physical, and the mental. So it's all here. Come on, let's get it done.
Conference will be held at the Tinley Park Convention Center, 18451 Convention Center Drive, Tinley Park, Illinois. Register you and the entire family at thevskjujitsu.com. Don't miss it.
It's about that time. Buckle up and get ready to feel the energy for the 13th Annual DJ's Day Out, Summer Kickback Edition, taking it back to the basics. Mark your calendars for a fantastic, free, family-friendly celebration for all the incredible DJs, their loved ones, and friends. Join us on Sunday, June 1st, 2025, from 1 p.m. to 7 p.m. at Star Park, located at 5031 Park Avenue, Forest Park, Georgia, 30297. Come on down and enjoy a fantastic afternoon of incredible music and community. Bring those coolers packed with your favorite drinks and snacks. Set up your tents and lawn chairs and get ready to relax and vibe. We'll have the hottest DJs bringing the unbelievable energy live on one stage. The DJ lineup will be shared soon. Get ready to enjoy the sounds of clean music, jump into some fun games, and maybe even win some amazing prizes. This is a free, family-friendly event, perfect for everyone. A big shout out to our incredible sponsors who are making this epic day possible. Sunday City Cyphers, the City of Forest Park, 247mixing.com, Bass Boss, DJ Radical, and RS Entertainment. Don't miss out on the 13th Annual DJ's Day Out, your perfect summer kickback. How's that for excitement? Can you feel the energy?
Ladies and gentlemen, we're back. If you are in the Atlanta area, you want to make sure you check out DJ's Day Out. The Rockwell Radio Show is a proud media sponsor of DDO, DJ's Day Out, and it's an event that happens every year you certainly don't want to miss. I want to jump right back in to something I learned while, again, preparing for today's conversation. I was doing some research, and I asked ChatGPT, pardon me, how many martial arts systems are there? And I've studied and got quite a few answers to that question, but one thing that they spit back out was there's over 160 systems of martial arts. So I thought to ask my brothers when I saw them, what's the best? Is there a best system of martial arts?
Well, let me say that I would not say that there is a best martial arts. I would just say, depending upon what you do and how you study, will determine whether you are the best at what you do.
Yes, sir.
So the best martial arts, there are various styles, and it just depends on the person who is performing and doing what it is, and that will determine whether it is an effective thing. But no, I would not say there's a best martial arts, because it all depends on the individual who receives it and how they receive it.
Brother Calvin, would you care to add on, sir?
Oh, I couldn't get any better. I agree wholeheartedly. As I've learned being a student in this particular system, as one phrase that I learned a while before is that all martial arts are good for what they were designed to do. And most martial arts, if you go back into their history, they were developed based off of the need at that particular time. And so Northern Kung Fu is different from Southern Kung Fu because the terrain is different. The weapon system in the Japanese arts are different than the weapon systems in the Korean arts because the need and the resources were different. But yes, I agree wholeheartedly with Dr. Abdul Azziz Muhammad. It's like asking, if you want to know what the best vehicle is or the fastest vehicle is or the best performing vehicle is, you really can't ascertain that. You can look at the specifications of it, but it's not until you have a driver do you really find out what that vehicle can do. And so as Dr. Abdul Azziz Muhammad, I agree that it comes down to the practitioner on how they express what they learn.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, you are rocking with the Rockwell Radio Show. My guests tonight, as you can clearly see, are Dr. Abdul Azziz Muhammad and Brother Calvin Muhammad. They are the driving force behind NTC, the National Training Conference happening this July. You can see the website right there on your screen, thevskjujitsu.com. Please go there for more information and register to be a part of this great annual. Here on the flyer, did we freeze up for a moment?
Yes,
we're
sir.
back. But we're back.
I was noticing on the flyer, brothers, those who are listed standing next to our dear brother, Dr. Abdul Azziz Muhammad. From left to right, we see GM Tom Curry.
Yes.
We see Captain Robert Hibbert. And on your other side, Brother GM, we see Soke Littlejohn Davis. Yes. And on the far right of the screen picture there is GM Tom Getling. Please tell us a bit about the background of these men and what they will be bringing to NTC 2025.
Awesome. I'll start with.
I can put up the screen back up, by the way.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Well, Tom Curry, Grandmaster Tom Curry, he is someone whom I've known for many years. He actually began or came to study with us in the was it the 90s. He was already a black belt, a high-ranking black belt at that time, but he came in to study with us, and has been with us ever since on that level. Which one of those is Dr. Moses Powell. See, that my teacher initially, because Soke Lil John Davis is a teacher of mine as well, but we were both students under Dr. Moses Powell, and he, being 9 years my senior, had been in the dojo and is also an icon. That's Soke Lil John. But Grandmaster Tom Curry came in and has been with us. So he has the mastership of karate, a form or system of karate, and he is also a master in the art of jujitsu. So that was him. And then you have Captain Robert Hibbert. He's an incredible individual also out of Jamaica. He's a captain in the military, and his captainship, he is a expert weapons man. I mean, he is incredible with short handguns to long arm weapons, and he has done some incredible things. I saw him at my first time seeing him in coming into Brooklyn from Jamaica at Grandmaster Bill's event, and I was so impressed with him that I said I have to have him to be there, to be with us. And he has been there with us every year, ever since. And he is a wonderful person. Both of them are. And you have Soke Little John Davis. Now, Soke Little John Davis is someone who of course, I was under, I should say I was with him on the mat at times under Dr. Moses Powell. And he, at one period in time, I did a little something to someone on the mat. And once I did that, that drew his attention to me. And from that point on, he has been training me as well. So I was training with him and I was training with Doc during a period of time and he's a great fighter known all around the country and remembered by many as well. And then you have Sijo Tom Getling, and he is well, I guess I don't deal with anybody but great people.
Come on now.
Sijo Thomas Getling is someone who we locked together, but these are all proficient martial artists with strong values and actually strong schools. So, you know, they are incredible persons. Sijo Tom Getling used to be out of New York, up in the, what is that area called? It's where the rich folk are, in the vineyards and whatnot. But he's now in the Florida area. Every year he gives of himself, comes in and teaches tremendously. So those are my brothers in this art and family.
And I'm glad you closed with brothers and family, which kind of is a great segue to my next question. I've noticed just by observing the brothers who are proficient in the arts, there is a sense of camaraderie, almost like a fraternity. Tell me, why do you think this particular discipline, I guess maybe like some others, why does martial arts foster brotherhood and a sense of camaraderie among one another?
Yes. Well, first off, it's, you know, there are some schools that are commercialized, and they're not introducing that concept. and you're a part of the school, and long as you pay, we're good. But then there is the type of schools and persons or instructors that it is a brotherhood, just like a fraternity. It's just like that, where I respect what you do, you respect what I do,
yes,
and that causes us to have a particular level of unity. And the more we do and continue to have the same ethical activity characteristic, then we foster, the beauty of what that brings. And it does bring a level of brotherhood.
Yes, sir.
And I'll say family, because there's not only men,
Right.
there are women that do the same thing. They are experienced, they are desirous of being in unity with each other, because we have the same goals and character.
Brother Calvin, why does this art foster brotherhood?
Beautiful. As the doctor said, when you're dealing with, and I agree that first and foremost, it does depend on the instructor. As he said, there are some martial arts schools that are like student farms, bringing you in and out as long as you're paying, and you're treated according to how you pay. But one of the first things that I noticed after my first national training class, there was Dr. Moses Powell was doing a seminar in DC in I think less than a month. And so after my first national training, I made it to that seminar. And the first thing that Dr. Abdul Azziz Muhammad said to me when we got there was, he said, "You're family now." I never forgot that. And then as you really look into the system itself, this is not a playful system. This system, at the end of the day, teaches you how to handle business, and if need be, how to preserve your life, even if it means you have to take someone else's life.
Yes, sir.
And in order to have that type of trust in, one, an instructor, and two, your classmates, that takes an enormous amount of trust. And if you are going to trust somebody with your limbs, with your nervous system, with your body, and with your life, then you should be family with that person. And yes, because we handle one another with care, I think over the course of training, we just grow that camaraderie.
Beautiful.
Absolutely beautiful. Brothers and sisters, you're tuned into the Rockwell Radio Show. Please don't forget to do the 3 steps of the Rockwell Radio Show. That simply means to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and tag someone, let them know you're watching the Rockwell Radio Show, where my guests tonight are Dr. Abdul Azziz Muhammad and Calvin Muhammad. They are the backbone and driving force behind NTC, National Training Convention 2025. And we're celebrating the 30th anniversary of the National Training Convention. And I regret that our dear sister Lisa could not make it on the air, because I had some questions set aside specifically for her that I can pose them to you all, because one of my favorite years in your past visits was when you brought the youth along with you. Absolutely incredible, motivating and inspirational to watch our children carry on this tradition.
That's
so
right.
30 years in, can maybe either of you or both of you speak to the role that the youth play and what the program and what the convention offers for young people?
Please, Calvin.
Yes, sir. I have to say, as we've learned, a movement with no youth is a movement that is soon to die.
Yes, sir.
And over the years, if I talked about my first national training, and the first national training, you just came, right? It was like every man and woman, there was one training that was given, and you fell into that training. But one of the beautiful things in our faith, Islam, is that in Islam, one who desires to grow has to open themselves up to counsel. And one of the things Dr. Abdul Azziz Muhammad always does is he considers the counsel and the feedback of everyone in order to make the training better. It's not, he doesn't just say it's going to be this. He wants to make sure that you have the best experience. So over the years, of course, there became a need to do specialized training with the youth. And that has grown tenfold of going into our 30th year. And so now what we have, what the youth can look forward to, and man, I tell you, if you have youth, if you have teenagers, if you have young people, there is no better place for them to get the training that they need than at the national training. We know that this world can be a devastating and disastrous place for youth, especially with the presence of social media. So one of the beautiful things that has been incorporated into the national training is not only giving the physical training, because they're getting the physical training. We have some incredible trainers that are very good at training youth and translating that training over to the youth. But those workshops they are given on the social media, they're starting to give our young people, they're starting to teach them how to develop and deal with finances at an early age.
Awesome.
They're preparing them on what to look for so that they don't get caught up in the grooming and what's taking place on social media and in the broader world. This is how you secure a nation. And they're being taught to be future leaders. They're being encouraged to follow the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And as they go off, and I'll say this as a child who grew up into the Nation of Islam, I have witnessed many of my fellow junior FOI go to college and get lost. But the national training is trying to develop the skill set so that when our youth enter that realm, that they have the support that they need to finish their education and bring it back to become nation builders. And so we're seeing the fruit of that as we're in graduation season. A lot of the youth who have been attending the national training are now walking the stage and they're getting degrees and they're looking forward to coming back to help serve their nation. And so the youth have a program that is out of this world at the national training.
Absolutely wonderful. Awesome. Brother Captain, do you wish to add on, sir?
Yes, sir. I would like to say that Sister Lisa, who was scheduled to be on, I have to mention her because, no one of us, I would say the only one of us, is the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, who thinks of everything that needs to be thought of. But for me, Sister Lisa was the one when her daughter and whatnot was very young and in the class. And she said, well, what are you going to do with the children and for the children? Well, I simply said, well, if that's something that you want to lead, I got you, and ever since that time, years now, she has been leading that whole process and the development of it. I mean, Sister Lisa has done a tremendous job. So I just want to say that she is the guiding force in there. She is constantly looking to do more for the children. And as long as you're willing to take the lead, I'm willing to help you in your movement to make that happen. So, so we have a great relationship. She is an absolute part of the team that makes things happen. So she is a tremendous driving force in the youth component.
Sister Lisa, I see you watching along. This applause, ma'am, is for you. Let me drill down a bit on that point regarding our children and their involvement with this conference every year. What satisfaction and reward does that mean for you personally, you two, to see our children maybe come in as perhaps 8, 9, 10, then to see them now this many years later in their late teens or perhaps even their early 20s, and know that you have played a role in their development into greatness? How does that make you feel, and what does it make you think?
Oh, it makes me feel like I'm following the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. I mean, it whatever, as I see it, whatever I do of good is like the moon in relationship to the sun. We can either give a good reflection, but we're merely reflections. The question is, how strong of a reflection? Because we look sometime at the moon as though it's really giving the light.
Right.
But it's the reflection off of the moon that's giving light in that dark period and time. So I just want to be a good reflector of his life, the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Brother Calvin?
I absolutely wholeheartedly agree. You know, special shout out to my sister, Sister Lisa. And you know, the time when you hear these youth, as some has heard before, the Sister Medinas, the Sister Rakayas, the brothers that have represented in a media standpoint of the national training, and you hear, not just because it's one thing to hear someone just rattling off words, but when you hear their spirit is behind it, like they were going to do this whether we were here or not.
Come on.
You know, that is such a satisfying thing to have, especially in our nation, where not we as in a nation, but in this country, where so many youth are being lost to other influences, and to see the youth take on the seriousness of life and run with it in the goal to become better. I have to tell you, that is a satisfying thing. There used to be a time when in the Nation of Islam, we would have these big conferences or meetings, and we would have to leave our children or make them stay in a hotel room. But now they can ride right along with us, and that is a satisfying thing to do.
Yes.
We are almost at the end of our podcast, dear brothers. And again, I cannot thank you enough for spending yet another year with your brother here at the Rockwell Radio Show.
Thank you.
I want to make a reference to actually a question I asked earlier. Earlier, I made reference to something I'd found called the top 10 benefits of learning a martial art. If you all had to narrow it down to just 3, what 3 top benefits would you say that those who attend this conference will get from joining along and learning a martial art?
Well, I would, confidence is number one. For me, I would say I would want them to create a great confidence, as brother, and I'll just mention this too, that it hasn't been identified yet, but Brother Calvin is not only the assistant to me in this national training, but he is the captain in Kansas City. So he has a great responsibility to help the men in that city and aid the sisters in what they need to get done from, security and so forth. So he has a great responsibility there. And he, along with doing that, he continues his work over here. So it's a beautiful thing. So, but I would say confidence. I would say also giving one a sense of that they develop, that in their being around, that they develop their thinking, their ability to see and understand, because it's just not about the ability to beat someone. Yes, you have to understand why this person is in need of a beating. So increasing their intelligence, so we say physical spiritual, and mental. So it increases their mental ability. It increases, we should be looking to be increased and grow in our spiritual understanding, because, you know, just the position that you can get put in to defend your life and take someone else's, you got to have a great level of spirituality to understand that, first of all, how to redirect that if necessary. But then you got to have that physical, just in case you have to go there. So I would say that as my 3.
Brother Calvin?
You know, he took the words right out of my mouth. You know, I just want to add one more a benefit. You know, there's something in the martial arts called the martial effect. And what happens is that it becomes behavior altering, even to the point where you are not aware of how your behavior is being altered, but it's not just inside of you. It comes outside of you, and people don't even know what they're looking at. There's a study that says the higher that you go in the martial arts, the more peaceful you become. And so you'll find that people like our beautiful Dr. Abdul Azziz Muhammad and people who have been studying all their life, you could ask them, when is the last time they've had a fight? And by fight, I mean, it's different. Having a fight is different from having to defend yourself. There's an option when you have a fight, right?
Very interesting.
You could stay there, or you could walk away, but it's usually rooted out of emotion. When you're doing self-defense, you don't have any option. But the martial effect says that the higher people go, the less fights that they have. Or they usually don't get into those situations because of the confidence that they have. They don't have anything to prove. But more importantly, there is something that happens on the outside of you that people don't even realize that they're witnessing. And even though you have a peaceful demeanor, even though you don't carry yourself in a boisterous way, when you are training and the martial arts becomes a lifestyle, a part of you, and as Dr. Abdul Azziz Muhammad said, you figured out how to blend the physical and the spiritual and the mental, then it creates this strange force field around you that people get the sense that they don't want to break your
Yes.
Listen,
and so that is what is called the martial effect. And you don't even know you're developing it when you train, but you just end up with it. And so that's kind of a benefit that I see that happens to martial artists quite a bit.
Awesome.
Brothers, we're at the end of the show, and can I please squeeze in just 2 quick more questions?
Yes, sir.
Thank you for this extra moment. I want to ask, one of those 2 questions is this. 30 years. Did you see 30 years ago that you'd be here 30 years later?
Well, no, sir, I didn't. Well, you know, and this is a reason why I believe too. Our technique, I'm going to use the analogy of our technique. And, you know, we do have some techniques that are prescribed and laid out, but when I demonstrate, I do not practice a particular technique. It comes out naturally. And what happens is the technique is, you know, people will say our techniques are, what is it? They say our techniques are overkill.
How about that?
Okay, overkill. Now, we all know that you can't kill anyone more than once. But what you see is the continuation until it is over. See, so either we stop because we have gained control, or we continue and stop because there is nothing left for us to continue to do. So do I think about that in the beginning of the technique?
Wow.
No, I don't think about the end of the technique, like what it is, because if it doesn't become the end because of something that they do, we continue until it's over. So I just use that to say, no, I didn't see that. I didn't see the 30 years. I just knew that I was on it and I was continuing, and did I have the same kind of situation that others, would have? Where did you have the spirit at any point to stop? Yes. But other people said no. And they felt so much about it that you have to continue. Well, I did, and we just continued from that point. So I just want to say it like that.
I'll quickly close with this last question, brothers. The political environment of the country has caused many to be pretentious, apprehensive, and some downright afraid. The self-confidence that one gets from practicing, training again and again and again, we've talked about how that's beneficial. But when we think about that to the nth degree, that makes you in a time like this a warrior. What does it mean, brothers, to be a warrior?
Please, let me let you share, Captain Calvin.
That is a beautiful question.
It is.
When you're talking about warrior, because inherent in being a warrior, you have the word war. And the most basic definition of war is a conflict that has reached an apex between two opposing forces. And so in order to be a warrior, that means that you have to be one who recognizes that there is a war waging. One of the beautiful things about the national training and watching our Student Assistant Supreme Captain, and you mentioned the political climate. When we prepare for the national training every year, one of the things that he doesn't say, okay, well, let's see who's going to win this office, or let us get an idea of who's going to get that office, or let's see what the Speaker of the House says. He always says, let's make sure we're in tune with the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan.
Come on.
Because in doing that, all of our bases are covered, because if you look back at all of the Savior's Day and you look back at how he has been advising us, along with Student Minister Ishmael Muhammad, they have been preparing us for this climate for a long time. As such, the national trainings have been following that lead. And so in order to be a warrior, you have to acknowledge that the war is going on. You can't be a warrior and not think that a war would ever take place. And so in that, the unique difference between soldiers and warriors is that sometimes a warrior has to be ready for that mindset at all times, not just when they're in uniform, but at all times. And we have reached the point where we need soldiers and warriors, but you have to know when to transition from one to the other. And so that is why inherently I believe in, and this is particularly to members of the Nation of Islam,
yes,
as FOI, a Fruit of Islam, which is the name given to the military training of the men who belong to Islam in North America. And we know that our sisters have a beautiful divine name as Muslim girls in training in general civilization class, but inherent in both of those categories is training, which means that if we negate training, we negate our own identity and the title that God gave us in our disciplines. And so it is time for the warriors to come out. It is time for the soldiers to be present. And it is time for us to be aware that there is a war waging that we have been well prepared for if we're plugged into the right source.
Awesome. Awesome.
brothers and sisters, that is Captain Calvin Muhammad.
Yes, indeed.
Kansas City. And Brother Dr. Abdul Azziz Muhammad, I will, if you will, close us out with an answer to what does it mean to be a warrior in this time?
Yes. The warrior, I want to mention when we talk about a warrior and a soldier, see, soldiers, we can take that position as a soldier, but the next level of the soldiers, is becoming a warrior. Okay, you. In truth, warriors are developed in action. It's just like when it said that a general, you can't determine the character of a general during peacetime. You can only, really determine the character of a general in wartime. So, soldiers are soldiers until there is some battle, as Brother Captain Calvin said. And clearly when he mentioned the FOI, see, there's a battle of saving lives. So you have to be engaged in the saving of lives in order for you to even fall into a group of names to be called a warrior.
Yes, sir.
So no, not every warrior is a soldier. I should say, not every soldier is a warrior, And I have to just mention the Supreme Captain, Brother Mustafa Farrakhan, because he is the kind of brother that is a soldier's soldier. He is a warrior's warrior. He is someone who, when you see in terms of a soldier, he's cut as a soldier, but his spirit is of a warrior because he is that. So I just wanted to say, because he is, another example and my senior in this, and I'm grateful for that I have a warrior to be behind. So, like when you're in ranks and you're behind someone, your head is supposed to be directly behind theirs. Right. It is supposed to be, you should not be able, if you're in front of the first person, you shouldn't even be able to see the second person.
Right.
So if he is a warrior, which he is, and I love standing behind him because I can support him in what it is that he is responsible for and what he does. So I just wanted to make sure we got that and said that. Thank you.
Soldiers and warriors. If anything is a highlight in the clip, it's gonna be that one. That's a clip. Brothers, again, you stayed with me an extra 13 minutes. I appreciate it. I am humbled and grateful. I want to now just put the flyer back up one more time, and I'm going to ask Brother Calvin just to make the closing invitation of why every soul watching should be trying to make their way to get to NTC 2025.
Oh boy. Listen, if you are listening to this, do not sleep on this training. One of the things that we've been experiencing every single year is that there's real estate is getting smaller, which means that we're getting more and more people. And I want you to think about the words, if we will, of the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan that says everyone in the Nation of Islam must train. Right. He said, even teach the babies how to fight, even if you need to just teach them how to throw their bottle. That's right. Everyone needs to train. And this training is being put into use right now. There are so many disciplines, you just don't want to sleep on it. I want to make sure that we drive that point home. You don't want to sleep on the training. Don't think that, oh, I'm not a martial artist, I don't need to come, or I'm not a fighter, I don't need to come, because the people who aggress you are not considering that fact.
Right.
they are coming after what is called the easy marks, and you don't want to be an easy mark. In addition to that, if you want to get girded up on how to prepare yourself, as you said, in this current climate that we're in, you want to learn some of the fine details of how your nation works, and you want to understand how to get along in this environment that is a very volatile environment, training that you could take with you to work, training that you could take with you if you're going on vacation. The National Training Conference is the place that, not that you want to be, that you need to be. So make sure you register today.
And again, the website again is at the bottom of your screen. That's www.thevskjujitsu.com. Brothers, I thank you again for your time. Thank you for making the Rockwell Radio Show an annual stop. This platform, these doors will always be open to my big brothers. Captain Calvin, I thank you. Dr. Abdul Azziz, I thank you. And inshallah, we will see you all in Chicago. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the show. That's it. Ain't no more. This is the Rockwell Radio Show. We will see you all next week. We are out of here.
I want to thank Grandmaster and all the Grandmasters, male and female, that are here, and I want to thank you for demonstrating the greatness of your skill.
You know what I'm saying? When I'm confronted by him, the question is, what do I see in him? First of all, I see, if we're taught that when we look at another man or brother or sister, when we look at our alternates part, we got to see ourselves. Do you understand what I'm saying? So now the question is, what do you see? Do you see yourself, or do you see someone capable of destroying you?
Now, if you got past all of that, you might as well keep on rocking with us. So come on, everybody, let's go. Let's go. Radio show, y'all. The Rockwell Radio Show. Come on, Rockwell Radio Show, y'all. The Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show, y'all. The Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show, y'all. The Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show. That means you too. Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show, y'all. The Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show. The Rockwell Radio Show. Come on now, y'all. Yeah. It's a dope episode, man. Come on, man. Stop tripping.